Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a quick review of this guy right here, but before we do that, please like and subscribe, and also please follow the Instagram and like the Facebook page. If you hear anything outside, it's the wind. It is very, very, very windy today. I'm also slightly down in the weather, so don't mind. Hope you don't mind the cough or the little clearing of the throat. So this guy, I guess, is not little. That's for sure. This is an XM-24 Bowie. So this is one I got at Blade Show. Is probably, in all honesty, my favorite Hinderer I have in my collection. Maybe not my favorite Hinderer model, a different story. But favorite Hinderer in my collection right now, I would probably put it up there, if not. But let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. That way you can kind of understand the size of a 24 here. So let's just do the easy comparison. The XM-18, 3.5 inch to be specific. So it is noticeably larger in every aspect of this blade and handle. It's funny that the XM-24 actually, of all the Hinderer models, has the best blade to handle ratio, which I thought is kind of crazy. But I mean, it makes sense. You make the handle slightly longer, but you make the blade quite a bit longer. You can kind of mess with ratios that way. But that's going to be those two compared. And here's another one. This is going to be the Strider S&G. That way you can kind of get an idea of that one there. There we go. Obviously very similar to the XM-18 3.5 inch. Same thing with this one, very similar overall size comparison to it. This is the Inkosi, and I mean, you can kind of tell it's pretty straightforward on that one. No camera tricks. Camera is straight down, so there's nothing to distort any of these. They should give you a pretty straight on look at the size difference here. Actually, obviously that was a 940, something most people probably have or have handled. Here's a Shaman. This is also probably something a lot of people have. Obviously it has, the 24 has dwarfed pretty much all of them. We're going to do another Hinderer right next to it, just for size comparisons. Here is a full trek. As you can tell, the 24's blade is longer. The handles are pretty comparable. They're pretty darn close. They're not completely perfect. But yeah, so here's the kind of thing where you kind of look at it and, well, how do I go about a review of this guy? Like, what's the best thing to say? I think, me personally, the best thing to say is that this is my most carried Hinderer in the last, well, since I got it at Blade Show, to be frank. This is my most carried one. 24 Bowie with a battle black finish here, with bronze hardware, bronze here. So, and then I have black hardware here. So basically flipped it. We have bronze, black face, battle black, white. I literally just said it. Hardware, yeah, battle black hardware. Over here I have actually a carbon fiber scale, but it has a battle black kind of feel to it. With the bronze hardware. I do have to say that no matter what light, with the carbon fiber scales, it's really hard to get the color or the angle of the light right to make the hardware pop, because the carbon fiber does actually reflect light pretty nicely. But it also makes these hard to see sometimes. It is what it is. And then obviously you got the blade. Ergos obviously on a 24 are great because you got this, you can hold it just normally, and then you can also choke up pretty easily compared to like the other like an XM-18, where this is kind of not super viable, especially if you have larger fingers. This is a little bit more viable. Yeah, obviously it's still kind of close to the blade there. There's a tiny gap, but as long as you're careful, you're fine. But if you're choking up, you're not really cutting super aggressive anyways. You're trying to do a little bit more finer tasks anyways. So you shouldn't have a problem with choking up. This one is 20 CV, which in general, I don't think 20 CV is the right steel for larger folders like this, just because they're not meant for the same tasks as your smaller folders. They're just not going to be, and that's fine. But the only reason I'm okay with it with Hinderers and specifically is because they do their heat treats for optimizing toughness and optimizing actually using them constantly. Not because if you make it exactly, if you make it too hard, then it chips easier, and that's not good at all for actual hard use, because you don't want your edge chipping constantly. You'd rather roll, and then you can sharpen it easier, quicker, get it fixed. Get in, get out, get it fixed, be done with it, rather than having to work out a chip. So there are a lot of people that do not understand how that works, and that's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to know how that works. But if you're going to design a knife, a large knife for hard use, you don't want your edge to be super chippy. You'd rather roll than chip, because rolling is a whole lot easier to fix than chipping. Not even fix, I guess, just reorientate the roll. Anyways, besides the point, this is clearly not a knife, and most Hinderers, to be honest, are not knives designed for continuous cutting. They're designed for hard use. Now, personally, I would rather them use MagnaCut or S45VN, something like that for hard use. It makes more sense, but at the same time, everybody loves 20 CV or M390. So using M390 or 20 CV, but doing a heat treat on it that still gets you that great edge retention, but also makes it a little bit more friendly to hard use, is a great idea. It works really well. With the XM-24 though, you're not going to be slicing or peeling grapes or anything like that. You're just not going to. However, let's see. It's also not going to, it's going to cut just fine. Like it's not just going to fold on the paper. It slices just fine. Like as you saw. Woohoo. Gotta always watch where my hand movements are. I just hit something on my desk. Oh well. Either way. My point is, it's still going to slice. It still slices just fine, even though it is relatively thick. And when I mean relatively thick, obviously, there's here 940, quite a bit thicker. Obviously, if you know anything about Hinderers, you know they have the tri-way pivot where you can change out to phosphor bronze, Teflon if you really want Teflon washers, and then obviously bearings. This one's on bearings, and I've had no issue with them with the action slowing down. And it's very nice, and it's only obviously gotten better. Do I recommend an XM-24? Well, XM-24s are hard to get. They don't come out very often. So if you're trying to get into a Hinderer, my first thought is not an XM-24. Unless you want the larger knives, that's fine. I personally prefer larger knives. That is actually why I think this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite Hinderers, because this is their largest knife overall. So it feels good in the hand. It really does. It is heavier, and I like the heft, but I did do the carbon fiber, make it a little bit lighter. Not too heavy out there. It is extremely hard to find a battle black titanium scale for an XM-24. So the best that I could find was the carbon fiber scales. And don't get me wrong, I like carbon fiber scales. And you're probably wondering if that hurt because I missed a flip. No, it did not. Some people complain about the flipper tab. No offense to everybody out there. This is not sharp. I have felt actual sharp flippers before. They were legitimately not ground well at all, and it was legitimately sharp. Those are not great, but that was obviously fixed later down the road. But this is not sharp. Now, is it as comfortable as some other flippers? Like, I will grab one flipper that is substantially more comfortable, and that is my Daiwa here. This flipper right here is nice, round. It is more comfortable, yes. I get that, but that's a custom piece. It's a custom knife. There's other flippers out there that are also very similar to that aren't custom though, but are up there. Like they're mid-techs. They're a little bit higher than a Hinderer, and that's just the fact of it, that a lot of times, and there are even some cheaper knives that have not as aggressive flippers as some Hinderers do, but that's all I would call it. It's a little bit more aggressive. But if you flip knives all the time, constantly, whether you're fidgeting with them or actually using them, your index finger will build up almost like a callus, but more of a resistance once you flip it. And that's kind of what I've always thought, is like, well, maybe I don't feel it. It doesn't feel rough to me because one of my work also, like, you gotta have tough hands. It's just how it works. But also at the same time, like, I flip all types of knives, all types of flippers. None of them bother me because I do it so often that there's not a flipper that's quote unquote rough or aggressive, because my finger has grown tolerant. So I might not be the best judge of whether a flipper is actually tough or not. But all I have to say is, regardless, is it will get way easier the more you flip it. And it won't hurt your finger. It just won't. Or it shouldn't, anyways. I mean, obviously that's the only critique that people, really have, other than price. These are not cheap. Again, they're hard to find, so if you find one and you want one and you can't get it, get it. Just because they're so hard to get, especially one in battle black and any variety. But at the same time, I understand this is not for everybody, and that's okay. Well, if you're watching this at all and you clicked on the video that says XM-24, you're probably interested in it to some degree. And for you that is interested in a 24, I would recommend it if you like the larger knives. This has better ergos than your 18. It's better versatile because you can choke up a whole lot easier, choke down, and it feels quite nice on all occasions. And obviously it's a larger knife, so you get a larger blade. It's heavier, so if you like the heft, it is very nice. I'm trying to talk a little bit louder because the wind is going pretty aggressively. I don't know if you can hear that. Either way, I would recommend this for the guy that is looking for a larger Hinderer, that likes the look of the XM-18 but wants it larger. Simple. I like it a lot. I mean, to be honest, this kind of indulges the little kid in me that likes aggressive, but functional, high speed, low drag kind of feel, like tactical, functional, tactical, high quality, functional, tactical. That's what this kind of speaks to, especially with this side, with the battle black and then carbon fiber. It's sweet. So obviously that's kind of what Hinderers are. They are tactical, everyday, hard use folders. They can take a beating, they can do what you need it to do, and be durable while doing it. I have tested XM-18s aggressively, like this one. I have put this and other ones through the ringer and have had no issues with the lock or durability. I just haven't. So I can speak to the fact that I think that if it came down to it, I could trust an XM-24 if I needed to for any situation. Whether it's hard use or not hard use, I could trust it to do the job. Anyways, that's really gonna be it for this one. A little rambly, but also at the same time, there's a lot to talk about the XM-24 if you have not experienced or heard about one. And there's also very simple, basic things if you know about Hinderers. So that's gonna be it for this one. Again, please subscribe, please like the video, and please follow the Instagram and like the Facebook page, and I'll see you guys in the next one.